Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Unbound, the show where we dive deep into the headlines, break down the chaos, and ask the questions that everyone else is too afraid to ask. I'm Jay Morales. With me tonight is my co-host, Revelations. How we doing, Revelations?
Oh, normal. Just hating the fact that it's getting colder.
It's getting colder, man. Bitter, bitter. Especially up there in western New York, where you get all that breeze from Lake Erie. You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately.
Yes, indeed. We also have today our special guest, Dab Don 710. How you doing, Dab?
How y'all tonight?
Good, good. We're doing good. We're doing great. And cold as you know what around here.
Yeah.
Oh, Dab. So you know, before we start, before we continue on, Raw will be live next Monday in Oklahoma City. Can you believe that? Are you gonna try to end up going over there?
Which
Am I gonna
Oklahoma
get free?
City.
Am I gonna? There's only one Oklahoma City grant.
Caught you slipping.
No, that was a rage bait. That was 100% a rage bait, sir. Don't even try to fucking go. Oh, I was just looking. That was a rage bait, and you
Nah,
almost
nah,
had
cause,
hook,
cause,
line, and sinker.
cause most people will be like, wait, is there more than one?
See, I know better. I know there's only one Oklahoma City. But anyway, um, am I gonna get free backstage passes?
Backstage passes. I don't think they have backstage passes for that, but maybe we can find out something. Everybody, if you don't mind, if you go down to the description of this podcast, there should be a little website at the very bottom, somewhere in that description, where you can go into our Streamlabs website and donate. $2 or $1.50. It doesn't matter. It all adds up at the end of the day. If we can get the goal of getting maybe like 250 before Monday, we can get Dab here. And by the way, happy belated birthday, Dab. Uh,
Thank you, sir.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Maybe a belated birthday gift from you guys and us to Dab for him to be able to go see Monday Night Raw next week in Oklahoma City. But tonight we're starting with a judge calling out a profound investigative missteps in the James Comey case. Then moving on to major immigration raids in Charlotte, sweeping asylum reforms in the United Kingdom, and deadly environmental disasters here at home as well. We'll cover the USS Gerald Ford's deployment near Venezuela, controversial U.S. strikes on alleged drug smuggling boat over the weekend, political turbulence in Chile's presidential runoff, and even Nicki Minaj partnering with Trump's administration at the UN to address religious prosecutions in to address religious prosecutions in Nigeria. So buckle up. This is Unbound episode 24, packed with breaking news, global politics, pop culture, shocks, and all discussions you won't hear anywhere else. So let's dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen. In a stunning development shaking Washington late this afternoon, a federal judge issued a sharply worded ruling describing profound investigative missteps in the government's case against former FBI Director James Comey. The opinion released from the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia immediately sent shockwaves through the political and legal communities, raising new questions about prosecutorial conduct, investigative fairness, and the broader political ramifications surrounding Comey's indictment. For supporters of the Trump administration, the case has long been seen a necessary reckoning. For critics, it has been viewed as yet another example of political overreach, targeting formal officials. Today's ruling complicates both narratives. Excuse me, real quick. My phone is blowing up, and that is not professional of me. According to the court's findings, several key steps in the investigation were misled and altogether skipped, including failure to verify certain evidence, improper witness contact procedures, and what the judge called unacceptable lapses in chain of custody protocol. While the judge did not dismiss the case outright, the ruling strongly criticized the investigative agencies involved, suggesting that the flaws were serious enough to undermine confidence in the integrity of the prosecution. Legal analysis are already suggesting that this could affect the admissibility of evidence, future motions from the defense, and the overall viability of bringing the case to trial. The decision comes as at a political or politically volatile moment. Former FBI Director Comey has been a lightning rod in American politics for nearly a decade. From his handling of the Clinton email investigation to his firing in 2017 under the Trump administration, to the years of political division that followed. His indictment earlier this year on charges related to alleged misconduct while serving as an FBI director has only deepened the national divide. Trump's White House, which has been positioning itself as tough on corruption and eager to hold former officials accountable, had hailed the indictment as evidence that the system is finally correcting itself. During ruling complicates that message. Throughout the judge's written opinion, the language is notably severe. Nothing laughable about that. The phrase profound investigative missteps appear multiple times, each referencing, underscoring a different procedural breakdown. At one point, the judge wrote that certain actions taken during the investigation fall well below the standard expected of a federal inquiry. The ruling also called for an internal review to determine whether the failures were the result of negligence, oversight, or something more deliberate. That internal review could take months or may open the door to administrative consequences for investigators involved. James Comey legal team responded quickly to the ruling, calling it a necessary acknowledgement of the flawed process that has tainted this case from the start. They also indicated they will renew their motion to dismiss the charges entirely, arguing that the government's investigative failures make fair trial impossible. Prosecutors, meanwhile, maintained that despite the errors, the core evidence remains strong and the charges are still supported by substantial documentation. However, even the acknowledgement that today rulings represented a serious setback that will force them to revisit portions of their case. The political reaction has been immediate and intense. Supporters of President Trump argued that the ruling, while critical, does not absolve Comey and is merely highlighting fixable internal mistakes. Opponents, however, seized on the decision as proof that the entire prosecution may have been politically motivated or sloppily executed from the start. Social media erupted within minutes, with lawmakers, commentators, and former intelligence officials weighing in across the spectrum. Many noted that the language used by the judge was far harsher than what is typically seen in federal rulings of this nature. Beyond the legal implications, this development poses significant questions for public trust in federal investigative bodies. After years of controversy surrounding Comey's tenure, followed by years of investigations into the controversies, today's rulings renew national conversation about oversight, accountability, and proper boundaries of political influence within the justice system. Whether this case ultimately moves forward or collapses under the weight of its procedural problems, the judge's findings will undoubtedly become part of the broader debate about the state of American institutions. As this story continues to develop, the attention now turns to what comes next. Will prosecutors be able to salvage the case? Will the defense succeed in having it dismissed entirely? And perhaps most importantly, what will the prosecutions be for the agencies and individuals whose mistakes have been laid bare in public federal rulings? And the next hearing is expected within the coming weeks, and it promises to be pivotal movement for the future of this case. And here's some more ending discussions to these questions. With a federal judge now confirming profound investigative missteps in the case against James Comey, the big question becomes this: are we witnessing a broken investigative system struggling under political pressure, or is this a ruling simply exposing the internal reform the justice system desperately needs? Which side of that line does that case fall on, and what does it mean for public trust going forward? Ladies and gentlemen, as always, let us know in the comments section, what do you guys think? Now let's move these questions to our good co-host and our special guest. What do you guys think?
I just think it's certain, you know, groups of like uh, other like certain groups of politicians who mainly do investigative type shit, who are still stuck in that older mindset of, oh hey, um let's you know uh fucking like fuck, it literally was right on the tip of my tongue too. Uh being more like fucking cautious and uh not like speak out shit and take forever to do stuff, and eventually, that'll fucking and sit back and also take bribes, which literally is what happened, which that's why this motherfucker got kicked off, is because he was being cautious and was being bribed instead of actually, you know, doing what a bunch of newer, type investigative, you know, I don't even know exactly what you would call them, investigative politicians type. You know what I'm trying to say? Where they would, like, people who would be trying to go for a candidate in his type spot for the FBI type deal, judges, all of that. And where they would actively try and get their end result by aggressively pursuing it and not taking bribes. And, like, granted, I'm sure bribing is a lot more, known, even, like, throughout that, but Homeboy was just taking bribes like it was just daily fucking dinner. Like, and with him being caught, it's going to be a hard time for people to trust. The what was didn't he work for the fucking FBI?
Yeah, he was the director of the FBI.
Yeah, so because of that, it's gonna be a hard time fucking even work like trusting even people within his own organization. It's gonna be a hard time trusting the higher ups in there.
Correct. Uh, Bottom line, the Comey case doesn't just test his personal legal fate. It may very well test the resilience of the justice system when political pressure is high and the procedure is weak. Whether it's a sign of a deeply broken system or a chance of meaningful reform depends on the DOJ, the Department of Justice, courts, and possibly Congress respond now. Moving on from the DOJ, we're going to move now to the major immigration happening down in Charlotte, North Carolina. Federal immigration enforcement surged into Charlotte, North Carolina over the weekend, triggering a wave of arrests, community protests, and a harsh criticism across to official U.S. Customs and Border Protection and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, led a coordination sweep through the city in what the Department of Homeland Security described as a surge to remove public safety threats. The operation came without prior public warning, and local leaders say the tactics used were aggressive and far-reaching. According to reports, federal agents detained people in variety of locations, including residential streets, parking lots, and even outside of churches, where parishioners were doing yard work. In some cases, people say agents did not properly identify themselves before making arrests, raising profound civil rights concerns. In his public remarks, Assistant Homeland Security Tricia McLaughlin defended the action, stating that the surge was aimed at public safety threats and that Americans should be able to live without fear of violent, criminal, illegal aliens. But local elected leaders pushed back strongly. Charlotte's Mayor Vi Lyles joined the other city officials in condemning the show of force, arguing it was causing unnecessary fear and uncertainty across the community. One of the disturbing accounts came from U.S.-born man Willie Acetono, who said that he was stopped twice by agents who did not believe he was a citizen. Border Patrol allegedly broke his car window, removed him from the vehicle, and only released him after he showed his documentation. Meanwhile, business districts with large immigrant populations shut down in response to the raids. Manolo's Bakery, a well-known local Latin American bakery, reportedly closed for the weekend as agents fanned out across the area. Community organizations have mobilized quickly. Groups like Carolina Migrant Networks are offering legal aid, training residents on their rights, and coordinating Know Your Rights responses while documenting the operation. The mood in parts of Charlotte is tense, and many residents say that the sudden presence of heavily armed agents feel like occupation of a city that has never been treated like a border town. From the federal perspective, DHS frames the operation as a necessary crackdown to detain criminal non-citizens and protect public safety. But to many in Charlotte, the enforcements feel vindictive, political, and potentially unconstitutional, especially given the lack of transparency and the fear it's sowing among both immigrants and citizens. And my ending discussing questions about this is in the light of this sweeping, unannounced raid, we have to ask: is this is this a legitimate enforcement of a federal law targeting dangerous criminal elements, or is it a politically charged campaign that tramples civil liberties and terrorizes immigrants' communities? Which interpretation rings truest, and how should local and federal leaders respond in the aftermath of what feels like a militarized crackdown?
So, I'm gonna go ahead answer this one first, if that's okay with you, Revelations. ICE. So basically, to sum it all up, ICE is starting to get out of hand. Very, very. They're overstepping their boundaries.
Indeed.
And I mean, yeah, like if you have documentation that you're here legally, and they're like you're not given a chance to show it, at that point you have a fucking lawsuit.
Simple as that. Civil rights.
Like, that's a simple civil rights violation. Now, if you are asked to show your papers and you sit there and try to argue with the damn agent, I don't have to show you my papers, blah 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 blah, even though you've been asked 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fucking times. If you have representation and you said yes, I have that I have not represent. If your documentation, excuse me, yes, I have that documentation, and that agent has then asked you, all right, let me see that documentation. I just want to make sure that it's legal and up to date. Show him the papers. It's not that hard. It's like, seriously, it's not. But at the same time, ICE is really starting to overstep their boundaries and abuse their power. So yeah,
And that's that, ladies and gentlemen. That's letting that. You got anything,
if
Grant?
Revelation has
Revelation.
anything to add.
Yeah, I didn't think you were gonna. See, my whole entire thing is I I want to know why cities and people constantly have to be like feel like, oh well, see, you gotta give us proper notification, and it's like, um, okay, well, I never understood that because it's like, oh yes, see, Mr. Mayor, we're gonna come in and uh, you know, arrest these illegal aliens who may or may not be also criminals.
So Grant, I can
And
answer
hold on, and and we were telling you this so that you have prior notification, and even though historically you have never worked with us before, and it's like uh they're not telling them that because the mayor doesn't like them, so they're not gonna even fucking help them, so they're just gonna roll in there anyways. Because if they tell them, the mayor's gonna be like, fuck no, you're not gonna do anything, and if you try anything, I'm gonna, send the cops after you and try and stop you at every fucking angle imaginable and make your job more difficult.
So the reason their federal officials are supposed to communicate and let city officials know if they're going to be operating in the area is, one, in case that person is pulled over, like on a traffic stop or something, and they're ID'd, they're covered. That way, their cover doesn't get blown. For one, um, two, it's if there's any like raids, like say SWATs, say like local and state law enforcement is looking into a specific person, but they don't know that the federal agencies are also looking at the same person, and they go to do a raid, or both city and state and federal officials go to do two separate raids on the same individual at the same time, that there's not an exchange of fire between two somewhat. I get you mean they would technically be friendly agencies because even though yes they're local, or one's local and one's federal.
Anything else, boys? Anything else? If not, shout out to everybody that's on the chat right now. We got RMR, PRUSA, Richard Lynn, Orion. What's up, guys? John, welcome to the party. Yeah, Jose, what's going on? What else do we got here? What else do we have here? Now we're gonna move across the pond to the other side of Europe. We're going to go to the UK in a landmark policy shift. The United Kingdom's government has unveiled what Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood is currently the most sweeping asylum reforms in modern times. The new framework, heavily inspired by Denmark, a stricter model, signals a dramatic overhaul in how the UK treats asylum seekers and refugees, with long-lasting implications for migration, integration, and human rights. Under the proposed changes, a refugee status in the UK will no longer be a ticket to long-term settlement. Instead, protection will become temporary, subject to review every 30 months, in a substantial shift from the current 5-year grant. Once that temporary status ends, the government could demand that the individual return to their home countries if they're deemed safe. Perhaps even more striking is the new road to permanent residency. Under the new reform, refugees may have to wait 20 years before qualifying for indefinite leave to remain, a dramatic increase from the current 5-year timeline. That change alone could reshape what it means to be settled in the UK. On the financial front, the government is scrapping its legal duty to guarantee asylum seekers housing and weekly stipends. Support will become discretionary, meaning the Home Office can deny aid to asylum seekers who are able to work, have assets, and violate rules. Officials say that this aim at reducing what they view as pull factors that encourage illegal arrival. Enforcement is also ramping up. The government pledges that the strengthens effort to remove failed asylum seekers, including leveraging return hubs, potentially third countries, as part of removal agreements. They also want to reform the appeal system. A new independent appeal body with dedicated adjudicators will prioritize high risk or failed cases, aiming to speed decisions. These reforms are part of a wider push by the government to restore control and fairness to the immigration system. Mahmoud argues that the changes are necessary to curb illegal small boat crossings and ensure that the UK welcomes only those who genuinely need protection without overwhelming public resources. But not everyone is convinced. Right groups and refugee advocates warn that the reform risks undermining the UK's obligation under international law. Critics argue that the making support discretionary and dramatically extending the path to settlement could trap vulnerable people in a state of limbo, unsure whether they can stay, work, or build a stable future. These proposals also reflect growing political pressure at home. The Labour government, led by Prime Minister Keir Starmer, faces mounting concerns from voters about immigration. The surge Unpopularity of the hard right Reform UK Party has pushed Labour to toughen its stance, and these reforms may be its attempt to strike a balance, being firm on borders while still claiming to uphold compassion. Um, as this plan rolls out, the critical questions are clear. Will this overhaul really deter illegal immigration, or sorry, illegal migration, or simply punish those who've already arrived fleeing persecution? And what costs to the UK moral and legal obligations to protect people in need? My ended discussions to those questions. Is the UK new asylum plan a bold, necessary reset that restores control, integrity, or is it a deeply punitive policy that betrays the country's tradition of offering refuge? Which side do you think this lands on, and what might the long-term consequence be for refugees, for the United Kingdom, and for Europe more broadly? Because I don't know a lot of what's happening in Europe. I'm gonna leave it to the viewers, for those who maybe are familiar what's happening out there and what the reforms and everything like that are for pretty much immigration. It looks like they're going through something similar as the United States, but I don't think it's similar. I think it's more lenient than what the United States is doing now. What do you guys think?
I still find it kind of hilarious that they elect what sounds to be an Arab person, and it's like, oh, well, now we can get more Arab people into the country, and said Arab person is like, yeah, by the way, guys, um, I'm gonna make it much harder for people seeking asylum to come into the country. Not just Arab people, but anyone in general. It's like, I mean, it's logical. I mean, because that was the number one way that the UK was getting, you know, immigrants coming into their country was people claiming asylum. Like it wasn't people coming over the channel, being like, "Oh, hey, I'm just gonna, hip hoppity into your country, illegally from France or whatnot, and just start living here or working here, blah 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 blah." No, it literally was just asylum. They would just claim asylum, uh, and just start working here, as in the UK, and that was what it was. That was the sole thing, which is kind of insane when you think about it. Like, you you would think, oh hey, claim this reason or that reason, or you know, just said other reason. No, it was just asylum, and like they wouldn't ever. Some would put down, oh, why are you seeking asylum? Fill out definition. Most of them would just be asylum, and they would just get pushed on through. And you figure, like he said, gonna be, well, he or she. I don't think he ever specified what the definite, like what gender it was. Um, but now it's going to be much harder for people to get, like, their asylum to be approved. So, I mean, kind of like for us, it's like, ours is illegal immigration. Like theirs is asylum. It's that's you know how that is.
Yeah, yeah.
we need to stop illegal immigration in a way. They're trying to find a way to stop asylum, and they seem to have somewhat started down a way that, but theirs is so bad that I honestly don't think they can get that to a way that it's going to be anywhere.
You're right. Um, moving along. Well, moving along, right? We're gonna fly back over to the U.S. and we're gonna touch now the H5 bird flu outbreak in the United States. Uh,
Oh
the
dear Jesus, not
the
again.
the threat of avian influenza or H5 bird flu in the United States has escalated into a domestic crisis that bridges animals' health and human public health in alarming ways. What began as an outbreak in wild birds has since spread into U.S. Dairy herds and poultry flocks, with confirmed human infections raising serious concerns. According to the CDC, the virus now possesses a higher risk to people who work closely with infected animals, especially dairy workers and poultry handlers. The dairy outbreak, in particular, is unprecedented. A highly pathogenic avian influenza H5N1 virus was first confirmed in U.S. dairy cows in March of 2024, the first time this strain had been detected in cattle. Over time, dozens of dairy herds across multiple states have tested positive. More than just an animal health issue, this has become one health emergency because the virus is crossing over to humans. Since April 2024, the CDC has confirmed about 70 human cases of H5 bird flu in the U.S. Most of these are not widespread community cases, but rather linked to occupational exposure. Nearly all involved people who had been in close contact with infected dairy cows or poultry. Also, to date, there's no evidence of sustained human to human transmission. Some of the human cases have been mild, but they're still alarming for the pathway they reveal. For example, in 2024, a dairy farm worker in Texas tested positive after exposure to infected cows. His only symptom, conjunctivitis, eye irritation. That same virus strain identified in livestock matched the virus found in his eye infection. In another case in Michigan, a worker also developed eye symptoms and later tested positive for the H5. Officials stress that the risk to the general public remain low, but they're not taking the situation lightly. The CDC is monitoring exposed people, advising protective measures for those who work with or around potentially infected animals, and coordinating with animal health partners to certain potential spreads. At the same time, there's been growing concern about how the virus might be spreading more insidiously on farms. A recent peer review pending study, not yet CDC published, suggests that on some dairy farms, the virus might be present. The virus might be present in the milking parlor air and even in wastewater used for cleaning. A finding that, if confirmed, could change how we think about transmission risk. So this isn't just poultry problems anymore, and it's not confined to animal farms. It's because these cross-species cases, this H5 outbreak is now being tracked through a One Health lens, integrating veterinary and human public health surveillance. Ending discussions about this, if H5 bird flu can jump from cows and chickens into humans, even if only in a limited way, how worried should we be about the potential for a more dangerous human adapted strain emerging? What measures should both the agriculture sector and public health agencies take right now? And where do we draw the line between economic interests and protecting human health? Let us know in the comment section. As always, ladies and gentlemen, Revelation.
Um, to be perfectly honest with that one, I really don't know because the last time we heard of bird flu was I I don't know. So I really don't have much of a knowledge base on, bird flu other than like, you know, it's not good considering like like how much, you know, poultry products we consume in the
Right.
United States. So even the
Hella,
slightest slip up is, you know,
hella
not
chicken
good.
nuggets coming out of Revelation's house.
Yeah.
Ladies and
Well,
gentlemen,
but I don't eat those chicken nuggets. I throw them on the wall.
sticky chicken nuggets, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget it.
Yeah.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we talk about this also about bird flus because our good friend Revelation always keeps an eye out on all the recalls. So tune in
Yeah, that
every
one slipped through the
Monday.
cracks.
Yeah, I know I did. Tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for all the recalls and any other Revelation segments that we bring to the table. Going now to social media. Social media is no longer just a place to scroll through memes or keep up with friends anymore. For many Americans, it's become a central way they get their news. According to the Pew Research Center, about 53% of the U.S. adults now say that they at least sometimes get news from social media. This isn't a fringe trend; it's a core part of how half of the country stays informed. Just like you are with us right now, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't that a coincidence? What
Yeah, it's also how DACA team gets the news.
Right. What perhaps most striking is how this pattern breaks down across different demographic lines. Younger adults, especially those under 30, are significantly more likely to rely on social media for news than older generations. In fact, nearly 1 in 5 adults under 30 say they don't regularly get their news from more traditional sources like television, print, or news websites, instead turning to social media and online influencers. The platforms themselves also reflect different audience makeups. On TikTok and Instagram, for example, younger people ages 18 to 29 are especially prominent among those getting news there. 42% of regular TikTok news consumers fall into that age group. Meanwhile, YouTube news consumers lean more towards men. 57% of regular YouTube news users are male. Race and education also play a role. Black, Hispanic, and Asian Americans are more likely than white Americans to get news from YouTube, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Those without college degree are more inclined to use Facebook or TikTok for news, where areas college educated adults gravitate towards YouTube and Reddit. I guess I'm a college graduate. Thank you so much. Another emerging trend: social media news influencers. About 21% of U.S. adults say they regularly get news from these influencers, and the numbers is even higher. 37% among people under 30. Many of those influencers have no formal background in journalism, and they teach their audience through platforms like X, formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Interestingly, among those who follow these influencers for news, 65% say the influencers help them better understand civic and current event issues. These shift matter deeply when more people, especially younger and more diverse groups, are getting news from social media platforms and influencers. It changes who sets the news agenda, how stories go viral, and what viewpoints get amplified. At the same time, social media algorithm driven designs raises new questions about misinformation, echo chambers, and trust in news. My ending discussions to this: if social media platforms and influencers are now some of the dominant newsrooms for younger and more diverse Americans. How should traditional news organizations respond? Should they pivot to platforms like TikTok and Instagram more aggressively, or double down and deep or on reporting and credibility to win back audiences? Which strategy feels more realistic and necessary, and what are the trade-offs? Ladies and gentlemen, as always, let us know in the comment sections. What do you think? Revelation? Dab done? What do you guys think?
See, I find that kind of weird because when, I was growing up and, like, I apparently fall under that fucking 18 to 29 group. I watched the news on TV.
I still watch the news on TV.
Yeah, like cause it just doesn't, like, I don't trust news on. Yeah, again, I also don't trust the news on. Well, I don't trust the news. Period. Like,
But on
because
our show, we do our due diligence
like,
to find you
but
all the articles about the same article and see which one is who's not bullshitting you. Am I right?
but news from like some random TikTok influencer, like,
By the
I
way,
feel that's like grabbing a piece of raw meat and like putting that in an alligator's mouth and being like, "Listen, Mr. Alligator, you know, I know you're not gonna bite my hand off if I give you this, but you look like you're hungry." Like, I feel like that's what it's like.
It's a beautiful analogy, sir.
it is indeed.
There are certain things that I trust YouTube and stuff like the weather. That's one thing that I'll just pull up YouTube real quick and I'll watch one of the fucking meteorologists on you one of the YouTube meteorologists.
I mean, if you're
Because
not
99 point
if you're not turning into Jim Cantori on the Weather Channel, you're doing it wrong. Am I right?
Straight facts.
Yeah, yeah. Jim Cantori for life. Go ahead.
But as far as like actual news, one, I don't hardly keep up with shit as it is. Uh,
And Patrick Starr over here.
if there, but I remember like back when I did watch the news, there were certain news channels that that we would favor over the other.
Was one of them, I'm guessing, like your local news?
So they were all three local news channels,
Yeah, it's
4,
generally
5,
what
and
most people
9.
do.
But it was either 5, it was either channel 4 or channel 9 were the two news channels that we trusted the most. Um, because 99% of the time they were the most accurate when it came to their predictions and their forecasts.
Yeah, same for me. Ours was Channel 4 WIVB. I'm 100% certain that Jay just exactly knows which one I'm talking about.
WIBB.
Yeah, Channel 4,
You talking about like Buffalo News?
local news.
Like Buffalo News?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I was never a Channel 7 kind of person.
Well, You know what's so funny? We're talking about weather and we're about to move into something so similar. Uh, a powerful atmospheric river has roared into Southern California this weekend, dumping rain, triggering flood warnings, and turning the skies into what forecasters are calling a river in the sky. This isn't just a heavy storm, it's a dangerous system exacerbating wildfire scarred terrain, threatening lives and stretching both emergency services and communities to their limits. According to the National Weather Service, rain fell at rates as high as 1 inch per hour along the coast in heavily burned scarred areas, places already vulnerable to rapid runoff and dangerous debris flows. In some parts of Santa Barbara County, more than 4 inches of rain had already fallen by Friday, setting the stage for flash flooding and raising serious alarm among emergency officials. Officials in Los Angeles County issued evacuation warnings for neighborhoods near the Palisades and Eaton fire burn scars. These areas are particularly at risk. The dry, charred soil from previous blazes doesn't absorb water well, making them prone to dangerous mudslides and when heavy rain hits as well. Authorities also urged residents to stay inside if possible and avoid driving through flash flooded roads as conditions remain unpredictable. Tragically, the storms has already claimed lives along Southern California's coast. A wooden boat believed to be carrying migrants capsized in the rough seas driven by the storm, killing at least 4 people and sending 4 more to the hospital. On the central coast, a 5-year-old child was swept into the ocean by numerous waves up to 15 feet. In a search in the search is still ongoing. In Northern California, a 71-year-old man died after his vehicle was washed off a flooded bridge. Beyond the immediate loss of life, the storm raises broader concerns. This atmospheric river comes on the heels of devastating wildfires earlier this year, and experts warn that such extreme weather events may be growing stronger as climate change boosts moisture levels in the atmosphere. Emergency services are now bracing for lingering thunderstorms, which could worsen flood risk, especially in the burn scar zones. Evacuation orders remain in force. Sandbag teams are being deployed, and authorities are urging anyone in vulnerable areas to stay alert. My discussion questions about this article: with this atmospheric river dumping record rain on areas already devastated by wildfires, are we seeing a new climate reality in Southern California? One where recovery from fire must now reckon with flood risk. How should local governments balance rebuilding after fires with preparing from increasingly intense rain events? And what does this mean for now we think about climate resilience moving forward? Let us know in the comment section. As always, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think Revelation and Dab done?
Hey, just think now when how with this whole entire upcoming thing, when the houses get flooded away due to the storm, uh you know a bunch of extremely wealthy rich people will buy up the areas where those houses once stood and build their own stuff on top of them, just like they did with the fucking fire last year. A little thing, if you didn't know that, they did that last year too.
Crazy.
And one of the other discussion questions, no, that it literally happens all the time. Um, you know, shit burns in California, and then like fucking maybe 3, 6 months later, fucking big ass rainstorm comes in, causes mudslides, rinse, repeat. Fucking normal ass shit in California. How people
See,
can stand to live there, I never know.
yes, California got ravaged by fucking wildfires earlier this year. Yes, it could. I mean, yes, it's not it's probably not not exactly what the people in California want right now is a shit ton of fucking rain. But that soil needs to be rejuvenated and soaked again after being scorched like that.
Correct.
So it's part of the natural cycle of life. Birth, death, uh, burial, birth, death, burial, repeat.
All right.
For
So listen to me. What if the fire that happened was Project Bluebeam, and then this rain that we just had, whatever the atmospheric river thing, was made by by that thing that makes the weather.
I mean, it's possible, but
Make sure to wear your tin hats, boys.
if we actually have something to control the weather in space, like the fucking like what you're talking about, because I know what you're referencing, Jay.
HARP. We're
Yeah.
referencing HARP. HARP.
That's not what I was referencing. That's not what I was thinking. No, I was thinking Dutch Boy
No, I was thinking about
from Geostorm.
HARP. That's the same thing. Geostorm has to do with HARP.
But if we had something to do that, we could literally play God. Quite literally, it would President Trump right now would quite literally have the ability to fucking play God, and all he would have to do is turn a couple dials, and he could fucking melt Russia. He could freeze fucking the Middle East, and he could uh and he could hit fucking China and North Korea with, well, he could hit North Korea with a tsunami so damn big that it covered the entire northern part of the northern section of the northern half of the peninsula. And then China he could hit with a hurricane so fucking heavy that there would be nothing left.
Right.
So one, we don't have something like that yet, simply because we haven't done that. I feel like if that was something we had the ability to do, we would have done it by now. Even as like a show of force type deal. Just like a yeah, I don't even have to have troops in, I don't even have to have equipment or anything in the area. I can literally reach you from space. Type deal. Now, with that being said, do I believe that that is something that is possible in the near future? Absolutely. But it would take every single one of the world leaders stopping their bullshit petty crap, coming together and agreeing on something, for one. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna move down to the Caribbean. The USS Gerald R. Ford arrives in the Caribbean as the U.S. ramps up military posture near Venezuela. The U.S. has dramatically escalated its military presence in the Caribbean, deploying the USS Gerald R. Ford, the Navy's newest and most powerful aircraft carrier, along with its strike group to western near Venezuela. The move comes amid rising tensions between Washington and Caracas, with Trump's administration citing counter-narcotics operation, while critics argue the buildup the buildup amounts to coercive pressure on the President Nicolas Maduro's regime. According to U.S. Southern Command, the Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group entered the theater to enhance capacity to detect, monitor, and disrupt illicit actors in activities in the region. The strike group includes several Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, namely the USS Mahan and USS Bainbridge, sorry, and USS Winston S. Churchill, forming a potent layer maritime force. On November 13th, the carrier transited the Anegada Passage into the Caribbean. The Caribbean Sea, making a formal entry into the U.S. Southern Command's area of operations. The U.S. has framed this deployment as part of Operation Southern Spear. It's a broader effort to target transnational criminal networks. Yet observers see more than just counter-narcotics strategy at play. The scale of the buildup, nearly a dozen warships, thousands of sailors and marines, is the most significant U.S. naval presence in the region in decades. Venezuela has responded forcefully, and its government announced a massive mobilization of some 200,000 troops, with land, air, river, naval, and militia forces put on a high alert. Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez declared that Venezuela would defend its sovereignty against what is viewed as foreign provocation. Sorry about that. Provocation. Analysis warned that while the U.S. insists its mission is counter-drug related, the deployment of a supercarrier with a long-range strike aircraft, advanced surveillance systems, and guided missile destroyers also sends a powerful political signal. This could be interpreted as a form of hard pressure intended to influence Maduro, not just interdiction. The strategic ramifications are significant. The Gerald R. Ford brings a high-end flexible militia capability that the U.S. Southern Command can use for a variety of contingencies, from aerial surveillance and maritime interdiction to potential precision strikes if ordered. Sorry about that. Meanwhile, Venezuela's mobilization is both defensive and symbolic, signaling it is ready for any escalation while bolstering deterrence. As regional tensions simmer, the question now becomes, how far will this go? Is this a targeted counter-narcotics campaign, or the opening salvo in a broader geopolitical confrontation? In my discussion questions to those questions, with the Ford in the Caribbean and the U.S. simply leveraging military muscle to fight drug trafficking, or is it Washington amplifying sustained pressure on Maduro's regime? What are the risks of miscalculation, and how should regional governments respond to avoid sliding into outright conflict? Let us know in the comment sections. And you know what? We're gonna give this to Dab. Dab, what do you got?
So, I'm gonna. It's kind of a yes on. It's kind of a yes on both sides of that question. Yes, we're building up military power to fight drug trafficking in the region, but we're also building up military power to kind of be like, hey, bro, keep fucking around, and you're gonna have 15,000 fucking Marines knock on your goddamn door. And as we all know, the devil dogs don't fuck around. I mean, and so you could look at it one of two ways. Either it's a good or bad thing. A lot of us that are against a lot of the drug trafficking that's been happening in these past few years are like, fuck yeah, keep pulling more troops in, keep pouring more shit into that area. But I know there are some people in the country that are like, why are we putting troops down there? Well, because these motherfuckers don't want to take care of shit. And when motherfuckers don't want to take care of shit in their own country, guess what? We've done it before. When we're gonna do it again every damn time. We're gonna step in. It's just how the U.S. is. Um, it happened in Germany. It happened in Vietnam. It happened in Korea. It happened in Iraq. It happened in Kuwait. It happened in Afghanistan. And now it's going down in Venezuela. It's a constant. There's a kind of a pattern being painted here.
Right.
If a leader doesn't want to take care of its country, then guess what? At this point we don't even care about the oil. We have enough oil coming out of our own area and coming out of our own drilling here stateside that we're not worried about oil at this point. Like, whoop-de-doo. That's part of the reason why gas right now is $2 a gallon here. At least here, I don't know what it is where y'all are, but I know here it's like $2.29 a gallon at Love's.
We're not even using our own gas or oil.
So, well, I mean, but you get what I'm saying. This is a straight up counter drug operation. Straight up what it is. Counter drug operation honestly, I could almost guarantee that we have some sort of small special forces team already inside Venezuela starting to try or attempting to stage some sort of coup.
Yeah, they already have somebody in there. Yeah, you're right.
So
they already got somebody in there. It's always a spy. This is Civilization 6.
Okay, hold on. Let's not go reaching for straws now. Now, Jay. But this is 100%. This is either way you look at it, it's a show of force. We literally just rolled an 1,100-foot fucking carrier down there that's loaded full of fucking aircraft and probably has at least 3 battalions of fucking Marines on it. Not to mention her fucking strike group. Plus the fucking Air Force that's already down there. So, not only is this a show of force and a build-up to counter, like I said a minute ago, counter drug operations, but this is also a show of force against whatever old boy's name is, to keep fucking around, big dog. You're gonna find out what it looks like when you have 15,000 Marines landing on your beach, blasting your front door down with a C4 charge that, they pulled out of thin fucking air and were like, oh yeah, let's take it to this door and detonate it. And now you're staring at 8 different. Well, actually, now I'm pretty sure the Marines are running the M7A1, which is the new M7A1, whatever.
No, it's literally the M27.
Actually, Grant, I'm pretty sure I just looked at it or they still running the old. So they're still running the old 27 IARs.
Yeah, that's their stand. Army is the M7. The Marines are running the M27.
Okay. Well, now you're looking at 8 to 10 M27 barrels at 10 less than 10 feet from your fucking skull, and you're like, I fucked up. So, I mean, there's no way. I'm not gonna say no, it's not a show of force, because that's absolutely what the fuck it is. We're done playing around.
We're done playing around, ladies and gentlemen. That's the final line. And you know what? Talking about USS Gerald, right? Is that the name?
Gerald or Ford.
Yeah, Ford, Gerald. What we were just talking about. Um, on Saturday, there was a U.S. military carried a lethal strike on a vessel again, suspected of trafficking narcotics, killing 3 men in what officials are calling a narco-terrorist operation. The announcement was made public the next day, Sunday, November 16th, 2025, yesterday, according to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Intelligence indicated that the boat was moving along a known drug smuggling route and was operated by a U.S. designated terrorist group. President Donald Trump, who announced the strike via social media, framed it as part of a broader campaign to neutralize drug trafficking networks that threaten the U.S. He said the individuals aboard were positively identified as extraordinarily violent drug trafficking cartels and narco terrorists. The vessel was struck in international waters under the area of responsibility of U.S. Southern Command. This is not an isolated incident and marks the these guys need to make up their minds. I thought this would be like the 25th. Now they're saying it's the 15th strike. I think they have hit so many boats that they've lost count. But they're saying that it marks the 15th strike since early September, targeting the suspected drug smuggling boat in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific. According to U.S. officials, the Pentagon says the strikes have destroyed at least 18 vessels so far. But the campaign has raised serious legal and ethical questions. United Nations experts are warning that these attacks could constitute unlawful killings because they are carried out without judicial process. Critics point out that under international law, extrajudicial killings in international waters, especially when the targets are not proving to be combatants, are deeply problematic. There are also concerns about transparency of the operation. The U.S. government has yet publicly released substantial evidence proving who was on the boats or what they were carrying. My ending discussions about this are these U.S. military strikes a legitimate and necessary escalation in the drug war, or are they are an overreach that violates international law and human rights? How many accountability should Congress or international bodies demand, and what limits, if any, should be placed on using military force in counter narcotic operations? Let us know in the comment section. As always, what do you got, boys?
So, once a certain group of people have been designated as a terrorist group, at that point, they are, whether they are physically fucking shooting at you, throwing objects at you, shouting obscenities at you, it doesn't matter. They are a terrorist group. At that point, they shoot to kill.
Right.
It happened with fucking Al Qaeda. It happened with fucking ISIS. Now the cartels are catching the heat, and they don't fucking like it. And like, sorry about you, but you should have chose a better profession.
And that's
I mean,
facts.
Like, because I mean, yeah, there is international law, but that's one. If it's civilian on civilian, and okay, so like say for instance, I go on a cruise, okay, I'm on a cruise ship, right, and I decide to stab some random Mr. FBI agent. No, I'm not saying that this is something that I would actually do. I'm just using this as an example for educational purposes. Anyways, if I go onto a cruise ship and I stab somebody and I kill that person, at that point, international law takes effect. It's not U.S. law. It's not whatever country that I'm going to. It's not their laws. If I'm in the middle of the fucking ocean, guess what? That is international waters. At that point, international law takes in, international police takes over, and yeah, and then it's all because once you have to deal with Interpol, then you're fucked. I mean, Interpol is just that's not an organization that I really want to fuck with. That's like fucking with the Marines. But in the instance of this anti-narcotic or counter-narcotics operation, which is what they're gonna call it, but all it is war on drugs that we actually it's the route that the war on drugs from the 90s and early 2000s should have taken. Instead of worrying about all this shit here stateside, we should have worried about what the fuck was coming in over the border. And we didn't. And now that it's gotten out of hand, we have a president that actually wants to take care of this shit and is like, no, there's only certain things here that are fucking legal. Like, everybody's getting all butthurt. Which, whatever. Like, I'm sorry about you. Don't do drugs, kids. Say no to drugs. Say no to drugs unless it's the Mary Jane.
Brought to you by the Green. Wait, I got one for you. I got one for you for that, actually. Stay on the Green.
I like that, Jay. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah. You already know we got it going on.
Sounds like he's dying over here.
Yeah, now where's my favorite button? They moved the button to the other page.
Jesus, Docket team, stop changing stuff on us.
Anyway.
Anyway, what?
Anyway. Sorry, I'm working on something with the Docket team over here, my bad. Oh, Docket team. Oh, wow. We're already down to my last two. We're doing good timing. You know what? I'm not even going to talk about that. We're going to move on. Long story short, Chile's presidential race has shifted into a high gear after a sharply polarized first round with a far-right figure, Jose Antonio Cast, emerging as a major force in setting the stage for a consequential December runoff against Janet Jara, a communist and former labor minister, now representing the left wing during coalition. The first round vote, November 16, 2025, revealed a dramatic realignment of political momentum. Cast secured nearly 24%, and Jara narrowly edged him out with about 26 to 27%, according to Chile's Electoral Authority. But what makes the runoff particularly striking is how strongly the right-wing vote consolidated. Almost 70% of first round's ballots went to the right-leaning candidates, giving Cast a clear path forward. The campaign has been dedicated by two major issues, rising violent crime and surging immigration, especially from Venezuela. Cast has leaned heavily into both, promising to build maximum security prisons and deport thousands of undocumented migrants and even erect border barriers. Many analysts note that echoes of U.S.-style hard-right populism in his message, tying his vision to law and order, politics, and conservative social values. But even Jara, though a member of Communist Party, has adapted a more security-focused tone than her predecessors, pledging to strengthening policing and crackdown of organized crime It's a testament to how debate in Chile has shifted, not around social justice or economic reform as in past decades, and squarely around safety and sovereignty. Mandatory voting has added another layer of tension to the race, with all eligible citizens required to cast a ballot. The turnout is expected to include millions who sat out previous elections and demographic that could swing the runoff. Meanwhile, the right is rallying its base aggressively. Two of Cast's chief rivals from the first round, Joanne's Kaiser and Libertarian Firebrand, and Evelyn Mathai, a veteran conservative, have already backed him and giving him united from heading into December. Observers are watching this election closely. If Cast wins, it would signify a major ideological turn for Chile, marking a decisive moment for hard right politics in a country long known for centrist stability. For Jara, the challenge is steep. She must hold together a broad left coalition while defending off a united right-wing surge. I ended discussions about Chile presidential stuff. Does Cass' runoff campaign represent a genuine democratic rebuke of old political order, or is it just a troubling tilt towards authoritarian style security first governance? And what does a possible Cast presidency mean for Chile's future, especially on immigration, crime, and social rights? Let us know in the comment sections, and we're not going to really ask the guys this question. I'm going to answer for you. I think, but you guys can put your info if you need to. I think that the dude is just trying to run it like America, whoever the Cast person is. Trying to run it like America. But we'll see, because everybody's forced to go vote. So let's see how that goes. We'll keep you posted. Hopefully, we can get more information about that as it works along. Now, I'm on my last one, ladies and gentlemen. We will be now moving towards Revelation tonight. While he gathers his information, I'm going to give you a few of our sponsors of this show, ladies and gentlemen. This show is brought to you by the Cable Hotel and Tavern, located in Klein, Feltersville, Pennsylvania. Address is 2647 Heidelberg Avenue, Klein, Feltersville, PA. The phone number is 717-949-8413. Operation hours are from Wednesday to Sunday, 4 to 9, Thursday 4 to 9, Friday 4 to 10, Saturday 12 to 10, and Sunday 12 to 8. Seth and Jamie will treat you with respect and family. So come on down to the Klein, Feltersville, Caville Hotel and Tavern. The other sponsor is also brought to you by our good friend Bradford Kelly from Connecticut. Epoxy Floors, Atlas Epoxy Floors, ladies and gentlemen. Phone number 203-496-6386, or you can also email him at brad.kelly@atlasepoxyfloors.com. He does work on a lot of things, garages, basements, patios, lobbies, countertops, whatever you want epoxy, my good man Brad will do it for you. Again, Brad is located down in Milford, Connecticut. He will do the whole Connecticut area, Massachusetts, Maine, all the way up here to western upstate New York. He can even go down to my good buddy here, Dabdon710, down into Oklahoma and get his garage done. So go ahead and contact him again at 203-496-6386, or contact him on email through brad.kelly@atlasepoxyfloors.com. And also, you can visit his website, www.atlasepoxyfloors.com. Again, Bradford Kelly, CEO and owner, and lifetime warranty on the epoxy floors, ladies and gentlemen. So if you end up getting a crack and 3 to 5 years, he will be there to do that for you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't hesitate and call now. Contact Bradford Kelly for any epoxy floors needs, ladies and gentlemen. And also our last sponsor of this show, it's producer Mike Presents and the Jessup Show Legacy. We're in a show together called The Movement. Streams at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. You won't want to miss it. We talk about a little bit of everything. My good friend doesn't like to talk about politics, but we sometimes have a little bit J's around the world, where I give you maybe a few little bit of an article, just a little smidge, and then we continue on with our banter. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we're going to move it forward to our good friend Revelation. Go ahead, buddy.
So, this we have the remains of a man who vanished 31 years ago were found by climbers on a glacier in Switzerland. The remains of a climber who went missing in 1994 have been found on a Swiss glacier, police have said. Climbers ascending the Obergabelhorn mountain discovered human remains on October the 15th. The Southern Wallace Region's cantonal police said in a statement, after receiving a report from the mountaineers, officers have reached the site by helicopter to collect the remains and personal effects from the Obergabelhorn Glacier. The person was a Swiss citizen born in 1969, according to police. Two climbers disappeared in the area on November the 4th, 1994. One of the individuals was found in 2000, police said, adding that to the discovery of the second mountaineer's remains solves the mystery of their disappearance. The ascent of the Obergabelhorn, 13,330 feet high, is highly prized by experienced mountaineers. Rising global temperatures linked to human-driven climate change are causing glaciers to rapidly melt as glaciers increasingly melt and recede. Around the world, there has been an increase in discoveries of remains of hikers, skiers, and other climbers who went missing decades ago. In August, the remains of a British researcher who vanished in *59 in Antarctica were discovered amid rocks near a receding glacier on King George Island, located off the Antarctic Peninsula. Around the same time, a missing man's body was discovered on a melting glacier in Pakistan 28 years after he went missing. In July of 2024, the preserved body of an American mountaineer was found 22 years after he disappeared while scaling a snowy peak in Peru. A month before that, 5 frozen bodies were retrieved from Mount Everest, including one that was just skeletal remains, as part of Nepal's mountain cleanup campaign on Everest and adjoining peaks Laos and Nupatese. In 2023, the remains of a German climber who went missing in '86 were recovered on a glacier in the Swiss Alps. In 2017, Italian mountain rescue crews recovered the remains of hikers on a glacier on Mount Blanc's southern face, likely dating from the '80s or '90s. Just a few weeks later, the remains of a climber discovered in the Swiss Alps were identified as a British mountaineer who went missing in 1971. That same year, a shrinking glacier in Switzerland revealed the bodies of a frozen couple who went missing in 1942. Police told local media that their bodies were discovered near a ski lift on the glacier by a worker for an adventure resort company. In 2016, the bodies of a renowned mountain climber and expedition cameraman buried in a Himalayan avalanche in '99 were found partially melting out of a glacier. So, yeah, though from those two, it led to a abundance of uh people, uh, you know, having a resurgence in uh um just whole entire like uh freaking remains from glaciers and mountains and whatnot.
I mean, it's from 80 years ago in there.
The farthest one, yeah. Uh,
That's crazy.
Considering no one has talked about stuff like that for years up until just right now from this discovery.
Yeah.
And the other one that I have, let me bring it up. This one will be good for anyone who is a video game fan. Um, so we have our first look at the Legend of Zelda live action movie. The first look at Sony and Nintendo's live action Legend of Zelda movie is finally out. Images released on Monday on the Nintendo Today app offer a sneak peek at young actors Bo Bragginson and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, who play the magical Princess Zelda and green-clad swordsman Link, respectively, in the film adaptation of the beloved video game. The photos show Link and Zelda standing in a lush green field, Zelda with her signature bow and arrow, and both actors sporting costumes complete with Hylian ears. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and the Maze Runner Helmer West Ball directs the live-action Legend of Zelda, which hits theaters on May 7th, 2027. Nintendo's Shigeru Miyamoto, who was producing the film, revealed the casting of Link and Zelda over the summer. Writing in a social media post, I am pleased to announce that for the live-action film of The Legend of Zelda, Zelda will be played by Bo Bragginson-san and Link by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth-san. I am very much looking forward to seeing both of them on the big screen. English actor Bragginson is known for her roles in the BBC One series Three Girls and The Jetty, as well as Disney Plus's Renegade Nell. Last year, she starred in Euros Lynn's vampire comedy film The Radleys. Ainsworth, who is also English, was the voice of Pinocchio in Robert Zemeckis' live-action Pinocchio, and played Miles in the Netflix series The Haunting of Bly Manor. He also stars in the Canadian comedy series Son of a Critch, and appeared in an episode of Netflix's The Sandman. And that is it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was your Grant segment. Thank you again. I'm sorry, Revelation segment. Ah!
Yeah,
We said your name.
Again.
We
Outing
have
me again.
outsted the name like 20 times in this, counting me and Dab today. I blame Dab because he's the one that's here. We said it the most.
I have not. Don't even.
All right.
Don't even.
All right. Listen here. Listen. Now we're gonna move it over to our good friend Dab Don 710 to give us now his side of the news. I'm hoping for the one that we talked about earlier today. Hopefully that one's the first one.
So we're gonna start off tonight with a little bit of a comment made by President Trump. Trump says the U.S. will sell F-35 fighter jets to Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
Well, this was updated today at 3:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is roughly 2:56 where I'm at. Real short article, but Washington. President Trump said Monday the U.S. would sell F-35 fighter jets to Saudi Arabia a day before he's set to meet with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman at the White House. I will say that we will be doing that. We will be selling F-35s. Yeah, the president said when he was asked by reporters in the Oval Office if the U.S. would be selling the fighter jets to the Saudis. Mr. Trump, no. Let me backtrack right there. That don't sound right. President Trump said the Saudis want to buy them, and they've been a great ally. The president aims to lock in major business and national security deals with Saudi Arabia during the Crown Prince's visit. President Trump and his son-in-law Jared Kushner have fostered close relationships with the Saudis and the Crown Prince in particular, viewing them as critical partners for both security and business in a turbulent Middle East. The Crown Prince's White House visit is expected to include an Oval Office meeting similar to the meetings the president has held with other world leaders in recent weeks, but the White House is also hosting a black tie dinner Tuesday evening, albeit without the formal title of a state dinner. Let me make sure this is all.
A few inches later.
Yep. So this looks like the end of the article, guys. So here's kind of where things kind of start. Is we all know that Iran and I'm pretty sure it's Saudi. I'm pretty sure Saudi Arabia has already bought F-14 Tomcats from us in the future. Iran has as well, but I know the Saudis have too. The Saudis have also bought MiG-29s, and MiG-21s and MiG-23s from the Soviet Union or Russia, whichever you want to call it. We can call it whatever. I don't care. We can get proper, or we can just call it what it is. Both countries kind of have these similar aircraft fleet. Aircraft is not the right. Fighter fleet's the more proper word. So what Saudi Arabia is trying to do is they're trying to figure out how to get the one up on Iran's recently acquired Sukhoi. I want to say 35s. If I remember right, Iran just bought quite a few Sukhoi 35s from Russia. So I mean, yes, the F-35 is a joint strike fighter, but it's kind of, I mean, in a way, it's almost built like the F-16. It's probably built a lot more stable than the Viper is. But the F-35 also has the same stealth technology that the F-22 has. which the only way to count to at that point for Iran to be able, because the closest threat to Saudi Arabia is Iran. Iran and Yemen. But Yemen's not really that big of a problem. The Houthis aren't really that big of a deal. Iran has enough funding and enough money coming in that it can buy decently expensive jets from Russia. So Saudis are like, all right, we're gonna buy the only like basic. I'm gonna say what the only smart jet that we can get our hands on, and we're gonna buy the F-35 from the U.S. Which one is gonna piss Russia off? We already know that. Two, it gives the Saudis the ability to run. If they really wanted to, they could start doing night raids on Iran. Now here's hoping they don't do that and they're actually smart with them, and they only use them as like a defensive, like to basically defend their airspace, which is I mean, and like lock down certain areas. I mean, it's a joint strike fighter, so it's meant to not only carry a shit ton of missiles, but carry enough fucking bombs to lay waste to some at least 2 or 3 battalions. So.
And ladies and gentlemen, I think that was the segment for revelations for
Oh no, I've got 2 more articles.
Oh! Sorry.
Actually, no, I've got 3 more.
Hey, send it. While you do that, then I'm gonna be right back and get a drink. Ladies and gentlemen,
So,
this segment
our
is
next
brought
one-
to you by Velocity City Modern Classics. A good friend Eddie Weber from Red Rum Racing. He's involved with them right now. They're building some beautiful Ford Broncos that they have brought back to life. Go check them out on their YouTube and their Facebook. Velocity Modern Classics. Go ahead, go ahead, Dab. Done. Need a drink.
So our next article is comes out of Fort Hood. Trust betrayed at Fort Hood. The Army doctor accused of recording his patients. On October 17th, the U.S. Army suspended Major Blaine McGraw, a gynecologist at Carl R. Darnell Army Medical Center at Fort Hood, after a patient accused him of secretly recording her during a gynecology exam. Or gynecological exam. Blah, 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 blah. According to a lawsuit filed in Bell County under pseudonym Jane Doe, McGraw allegedly pretended to take a phone call, place his smartphone in his breast pocket, and filmed the patient while performing a breast and pelvic exam without consent. The civil complaint claims investigators later discovered thousands of photos and videos of women on his phone, including imagery taken at prior assignments. Ooh, this is getting juicy. The same lawsuit alleges McGraw's earlier posting at Tripler Medical Center in Hawaii generated prior misconduct complaints that Army leadership ignored, allowing him to continue treating patients. Following the October complaint, the Army Criminal Investigative Division opened a criminal investigation and removed McGraw from clinical duties. Officials told Sergeant Stripes the hospital sent letters to roughly 1,400 patients, urging them to report any concerns to investigators. Attorneys now represent approximately 50 women who have joined the suit or filed related claims. Legal and ethical implications. The complaint accuses McGraw of invasion of privacy, sexual assault, and medical negligence. Because the alleged conduct occurred in a federal facility, plaintiffs are pursuing claims against the U.S. government under Federal Tort Claims Act, arguing Army officials failed to properly supervise McGraw and dismissed prior complaints. If sustained, The failure could make the Army liable for institutional negligence. As a military physician, McGraw's actions fall under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, otherwise known as UCMJ. Uh, Criminal Investigative Division investigation. I think that's what CID stands for. Whatever it stands for. CID's investigation could lead. Yeah, Criminal Investigation Division. Uh, inv, Criminal Investigation Division's investigation could lead to prosecution under Article 120, sexual assault, or Article 134, conduct prejudicial to good order and discipline, depending on the evidence. I mean, this dude's straight up probably getting Article 120. I mean, and that's not good. That's not good coming out of a UCMJ. I'm going to say that now. Having been prior military, one of the things that I actually had to research was UCMJ, and I mean it was important because we just had to know what our laws were and what exactly everything we had to follow. So I mean the fact that this dude pulled this shit and I mean he's only getting sexual assault and not both of these are not both 120 and 134 is a little out of pocket, but anyways, institutional accountability. The McGraw case exposes a long-standing weakness in the oversight of military medicine. Military medicine. The suit claims Army officials gave cover to a predator in uniform by ignoring earlier warnings and maintaining policies that failed to protect patients. The victims' attorneys argue systemic neglect rather than just one individual's behavior allowed abuse to persist. The Army, whoa, I'm getting ahead of myself. The Army has said publicly that it is reviewing systems, clinical processes, and policies, but has not clarified whether internal complaints at Fort Hood or Tripler were ever documented or investigated. From a legal and human rights perspective, sorry. The case raises questions about whether military medical systems provide the same procedural protections as civilian care. Civilian patients are entitled to professional boards, malpractice oversight, and open complaint systems. By contrast, military dependents and service members are often bound by internal command instructions that limit recourse, which is true. Kind of grew up in the system, and the system's bullshit. I mean, my mom was military until I was like, probably, I mean, I was living just north of Luke Air Force Base till I was second, like right towards the end of my second grade year. And I mean, it didn't really. I mean, being being as ADHD as I was at the time, I was constantly in and out of doctor's offices, and most of them were just, "Oh, put him on meds. He'll be all right." And now all of those years that I was, on medication because of military doctors, is now catching up to me. So military doctors suck. I mean, the only good military doctor experience I had was when I had pneumonia while I was in tech school, and they put me on an albuterol treatment, and I fell asleep doing the albuterol treatment. It was also the pneumonia was getting to the point that I was having issues. I was having massive issues. So We didn't. They didn't. I mean, that was like the first thing we did was that once he got me in, once after we did like the pre-checkup stuff, he was like, "All right, I'm gonna have you do this, and you're gonna lay back." And not 5 minutes into the epidural treatment, I was out like a light. So military. I mean, there are certain doctors in the military that are good. I'm not gonna sit here and say all military doctors are bad. I know that was my first original statement, but there are decent doctors, but there are a lot of bad ones, and a lot of civilian doctors actually look at military patients, at like military members when they go in when they go in for that type of care as like basically just free money. And so but on to the next section of this article. I think we're almost done with this article, and then I've got I think two more. So, sorry I keep going off on tangents after each section, but some of these I can relate. Some of this I can relate to. I mean, granted, well, I wasn't Army, I was Air Force, but
We're here with you. We're here with you.
I'm taking a drink. Give me a minute.
While he takes a sip of that drink, everybody, remember this show is always sponsored by Atlas Epoxy Floors. My good friend Bradford Kelly does garages, basements, patios, lobbies, countertops, and more. Contact him at 203 496 6386. Go ahead.
Broader context. For service members and families who depend on military medicine, the allegations reflect a collapse of trust. A doctor-patient relationship inside a hierarchical, I think is how you say that word, hierarchical.
Article.
No, it's like air arc like art like hair like HIERARCICA or CA or no, yeah. Hold on.
Revelation. What
Wow.
is it?
Yeah, whatever Revelations just said. Institution like the Army carries a unique vulnerability, and the alleged exploitation of that trust undermines a faith in the system. From an accountability standpoint, it also tests the rule of law within military structures, whether the same principles of justice that govern civilian life apply equally within the armed forces, which they should. The case also exposes what some scholars call institutional self-protection, which is the tendency for large command systems to prioritize representation over transparency. If proven, the failure to act on earlier misconduct reports would not simply be administrative negligence. It would reveal a structural weakness in how the Army polices itself. What happens next? As of now, McGraw has not been criminally charged. Mind you, this article was updated, or this article was published yesterday at 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Okay.
So, as of now, McGraw has not been criminally charged. The Army Criminal Investigations Unit, or Criminal Investigations Division, continues its investigation. While civil litigation proceeds in Bell County, plaintiff while civil litigation proceeds in Bell County. Plaintiffs' lawyers have requested a review of medical oversight policies across Army facilities. Oh shit. Whether this case becomes a catalyst for reform or fades into another institutional scandal depends on how transparently the Army handles the investigation and how swiftly it implements reforms. A credible response would include public accountability, mandatory oversight protocols, and clear consequences for leadership failures. Anything less risks confirming that justice within military medicine remains conditional on command, not conscience. So my my discussion question for this is my first discussion question for this one is simply, what do you guys think this major should be charged with? I mean, should he get both Article 120, which is sexual assault, and Article 134, which is conduct prejudicial to good order and discipline? Or should they charge him with Article 120, sexual assault, and
use him as an example?
maybe something something else besides just conduct prejudicial to good order, because that doesn't even sound like a charge that I don't understand where that charge is even coming from, because I mean he's literally being charged. They're literally charging him with, what was it? Hold on. There are wow. So this civil lawsuit that's going on. I mean, they discovered. It says they discovered thousands of photos and videos.
I told you it's been going on a while.
So this dude should be facing more than just a 120 or a 134. He should be facing like a 120 with like I don't even know what else you could charge somebody like this with. But my second question is, if you were in the position of these victims, would you have gone to hospital staff leadership, or would you have gone straight to one of your direct unit NCOs and been like, hey, this went down at the hospital, this made me uncomfortable, I know I get we're in the fucking Army, but like I have HIPAA right. Like they're like not only is this an invasion of privacy and honestly could be considered sexual assault with what he did to this patient, but there are HIPAA laws that he violated as well. So like not this doesn't only just breach the privacy and the criminal side. This breaches the medical law and HIPAA laws, and this goes much more deeper than just criminal. There is medical crime, and there is HIPAA involved in this. So this is gonna fucking explode. I promise you. This is something that we're definitely gonna stay on top of and try to track, because this could get way out of hand really quick. I mean, there are already 50 women that have come forward and jumped up on this.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is insane information, and we'll be keeping up with that for sure.
And so for our next one, finally, FAA has lifted emergency flight reductions used to ease staffing pressure during government shutdown. The flight reductions were lifted at 6 a.m. Monday after the FAA said there's been a steady decline in staffing trigger events. Alrighty. This was posted yesterday at 7:12 p.m. Updated this morning at 6:06 a.m. The Federal Aviation Administration has ended its flight reduction emergency order, allowing air travel to resume normal operations. Which, let me go ahead and do this real fast. I'm going to go ahead and do a little special thing real quick. And Jay, are you sharing your screen?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you screen sharing? Do you have your thing on Discord right now?
Yeah. I was screen sharing the the ads that we have while you
Oh,
talk.
I can't stream it to this channel.
No, yes, you can. You can stream into a channel if you're using your PC.
No, it won't let me. It says you can't stream into this channel.
Oh, well, gotta have to fix that with
Hold
Docket
on.
Team.
Let me message Docket. Let me message Docket Team real quick.
Docket Team doesn't get out of their normal work until 3 a.m.
Dom's on. Dom's in. Or Docket. Sorry, excuse me. Docket Team.
Docket
Docket
Team.
Team.
My
Docket Team
God.
is in public lounge right now. If you look.
Yeah, I see. Mr. Docket is up there. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
Give me
we
just
get
a minute, ladies and
a
gentlemen.
minute real quick about Docket Team. We're gonna move back to one of my last segments, and then I got something else I wanted to talk about after that segment. If you don't mind, while you get that fixed. Nicki Minaj, ladies and gentlemen, Nicki Minaj, the female rapper, is set to deliver remarks at the United Nations in New York in a high-profile, politically charged event organized in collaboration with the Trump administration. The rapper, known for her outsized influence and devout faith, will speak alongside U.S. Ambassador to the UN Mike Waltz and Trump advisor Alex Brozowitz. The focus of the event, what the U.S. is calling the atrocities committed against Christians in Nigeria. According to Waltz and Minaj, she will use her platform to amplify reports of religious violence, presenting her remarks as normally driven plea for international intervention and awareness. Ambassador Waltz publicly praised Minaj's involvement, calling her not only arguably the greatest female recording artist, but also a principled individual who refuses to remain silent in face of injustice. He said he looked forward to standing with her as we discuss the steps the president and his administration are taking to end the prosecution of our Christian brothers and sisters. Minaj, for her part, expressed deep gratitude for the opportunity. In her response, she noted, "I am so grateful to be entrusted with the opportunity of this magnitude. I do not take it for granted. It means more than you know." She framed the moment as part of her larger calling, telling her fans, the Barbs, that together they will not back down in the face of injustice. We've been given our influence by God. There must be a bigger purpose, she wrote. Her entry into diplomatic moment built on earlier public support she expressed for former President Donald Trump proposed this designation of Nigeria as a country of popular concern for religious prosecution. Trump had accused radical Islamists for slaughtering Christians in Nigeria, calling for aggressive measures. In response, Minaj publicly thanked him, saying in a post on X that she's deeply grateful for his willingness to speak out. The decision to bring a major pop culture figure into the geopolitical conversation is not without controversy. Some see it as a savvy use of celebrity power to shine light on humanitarian crisis. Others warn of politicizing religious violence for ideological ends. Critics within her fan base have questioned whether her participation signals a broader alignment with Trump's base and policies, concerns that amplify given her massive ideologically diverse following. Still, supporters of Minaj's role argue that her voice brings a new dimension to global advocacy, one that brings entertainment, faith, and international policy. As one Trump's aligned source put it, her presence could shift how the world watches Nigerian violence. Not just political or not just political or regional issue, but as moral crisis worthy of global condemnation. Whatever the outcome whatever the outcome, Tuesday's event tomorrow or today, now that is already midnight over here in the East Coast. Tuesday's event at the United Nations signals a moment of convergence of celebrity influence, religious advocacy, and the hard edges of diplomacy. For Minaj, it isn't just a speaking engagement; it appears to be a calling. My ending discussion about about the article is Nicki Minaj participating in this UN event raises key questions. Should celebrities leverage their influence in international diplomacy, or does their involvement risk politicizing humanitarian crisis? How does the partnership between a pop culture icon and political administration shape a global perception? And can such collaborations effectively bring attention to serious issues like religious prosecution without blurring lines between advocacy and politics? Let us know in the comment sections, what do you think? My answer to that question is that the only person that I can think of, I mean, there's many, right? There's many pop culture people that have actually done a difference for the community in countries. But forevermore, I believe that Michael Jackson broke barriers as far as even being part of the Berlin Wall being taken down. So there's that. But what Nicki Minaj is doing, in my opinion, she's just running the wave. But I also don't want criticism because we don't know. Maybe she will be a good advocate for what's happening to Christians in Nigeria. We'll see. We'll see. Do you have an opinion here, Revelation?
Not really, no.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our podcast on my side. I do have a couple more things, but I want to see if our good friend Dabdon can be able to.
Yep, I've got it up. It's already up and running. We got it ready for you.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
So, kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent before we get too far deep into this. This area right here in the North Atlantic, just last week, was practically empty, and most of this is outbound flights, as you can see, coming out of New York, Pennsylvania, Washington D.C., northeast coast of the U.S. As you can see, just by their heading, if you actually look, you can tell which way the aircraft is facing. God damn it, fucking flight radar. So, I mean, even I say that even that I shit. Even the only flights that I saw all last week coming through the U.S. were either inbound flights to like one of the major airports, like one of the really major airports, or like Will Rogers, Dallas Fort Worth, a lot of those ones. But there was not a lot of outbound. So, as you can clearly tell, I mean, shit, the entire fucking West Coast is just covered with aircraft. So, that right there, I mean, there's helos in the air. I mean, so like, yeah, there are clearly just by looking at flight radar, we can see the difference in what happens when things go back to fully operational status. Now I will say, kind of not really a sponsor, but one thing you can do is, I don't know if they're even up right now. I highly doubt it, but what I've actually been the real whole reason why I've been using flight radar is I have been waiting for a couple of friendly want to say either B2s or B52s that are sitting right here at Luis Munoz Marine in Puerto Rico. So and kind of just a little something to do with the action going on down here in Venezuela. But right now they don't seem to be they don't seem to be squawking, so they're not showing up on flight radar. But anyways, but we can go ahead and come off of that, Jay. I'm done with that. I just wanted to show that real fast.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the segment now with
So
Dabdon 710.
oh, okay.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I had one for have we already covered the John F. Kennedy?
What about it?
Have we already covered have we already done something on this?
I don't know. Have we done something about John F. Kennedy yet, Revelation?
The USS John F. Kennedy?
I did.
No, I don't think we have talked about the USS Kennedy, no.
Alrighty. So, this article is back from July 7th of this year. Updated at 5:02 p.m. on the 7th of July. This aircraft carrier is going to be the next Ford class aircraft carrier, facing a 2-year delay that will leave the U.S. Navy with 10 carriers for about a year. USNI News has learned the future USS John F. Kennedy CVN 79 will now deliver in March 2027, according to the Navy's fiscal year 2026 budget justification documents. The carrier was supposed to deliver this month, according to last year's budget plans. The CVN 79 delivery date shifted from July 2025 to March 2027. Preliminary acceptance to be determined to support completion of advanced arresting gear certification and continued advanced weapons elevator work. reads the latest fiscal year 2026 building budget book. Those two technologies, the system used to catch aircraft landing on the deck, and the weapons elevator used to move ordnance through the ship, are new systems incorporated into the Ford class. A spokesperson for General Atomics, which makes the advanced arresting gear, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The Navy let me pause for a minute. The Navy is exploring opportunities for preliminary acceptance of the vessel prior to formal delivery, and is coordinating closely with stakeholders to ensure the fastest possible transition to fleet operations and a combat-capable carrier. A Navy spokesperson told the USNI News in a statement. A spokesperson for HII's Newport News Shipbuilding, which builds the carriers, said the company is applying for lessons from building the lead ship to successive ships in the class. Okay. quote which I honestly need to start saying quote. I do apologize for that. A lot of these are quotes from people within the military. Quote specifically, the John F. Kennedy CVN 79 construction was fairly advanced when many Ford lessons were realized, precluding timely implementation of lessons learned for Kennedy. End quote. Company spokesperson Todd Carrillo said in a statement. Quote, in contrast, the Enterprise and the Doris Miller, which CVN 80 and CVN 81 and CVN 81, or the Enterprise being CVN 80 and Doris Miller being CVN 81, have been able to incorporate, leverage, and capitalize on Ford lessons learned earlier in the construction process. End quote. JFK faced several delays over the course of the ship's construction. In 2023, the Navy pushed the carrier's delivery date from June 2024 to 2025 so that Newport News could perform work during the construction that typically happens during post-shakedown availability period. During the post-shakedown availability period, USNI News reported at the time. USS Gerald R. Ford, CVN 80 or CVN 78, the lead ship in the class, also faced delays due in part to difficulty installing the 11 weapons elevators on into the ship. The final elevator turned over to the Navy in 2021. USNI News reported at the time. Likewise, the advanced arresting gear system has faced developmental delays.
Sorry about that.
And then there's a picture of the advanced arresting gear, which, I mean, it's basically just a drawing of part of the mechanism. Anyway, the USS Nimitz CVN 68, the oldest aircraft carrier in service at 50 years, is scheduled to retire in May 2026, meaning the Navy's inventory will dip from 11 to 10 carriers for nearly a year before the JFK delivers. Which I don't understand why we would. I mean, I guess the more carriers, the better. But I guess I don't know. Having an odd number like that just seems weird to me. That's just my OCD kicking in. I'm not a Navy official, so I can't be like, no, I want 2 carriers delivered at the same time. Because that's what I would do. I would be like, no, I want 2 carriers at the same time, ready to go. Anyway, the Navy in 2021 switched from pursuing a dual-phase delivery approach for Kennedy to a single-phase delivery, a move that added 2 years of work to the carrier's design detail and construction contract. According to the fiscal year 2024 budget documents. The additional work included modifications so the carrier could field the 5th generation F-35C Joint Strike Fighter Lightning II, a capability the Navy originally planned to backfit later, and the new Enterprise air surveillance radar. Navy officials thought a dual-phase delivery approach could save the service money and construction costs at the shipyard, and also in manning by minimizing the overlap between JFK entering service and the Nimitz remaining in the fleet before its planned decommission. But once lawmakers who were angry at the Navy's newest carriers couldn't field its latest fires, required JFK to have the J-35C modifications before its post shakedown availability, or the service abandoned dual phase delivery plans. As recently as April, a Navy official told Congress he expected the JFK to deliver in 2026. The budget books show that the future USS Enterprise, CVN-80, is also facing a nearly 1-year delay. The carrier is now slated to that the Enterprise is now slated to deliver in July of 2030 instead of last year's projection of September 2029. The CVN-80 delivery date shifted from September 29 to July 2030 due to delays in material availability and industry and supply chain performance. The budget book reads the budget books. Last year's budget books forecast an 18-month delay for the Enterprise, pushing the delivery from March 2028 to September of 2029. USNI News reported at the time. The CVN-80 schedule continues to be challenged by late delivery of sequence critical material. The Navy spokesperson said, God damn it, hold on, let me backtrack. Quote, CVN-80 schedule continues to be challenged by late delivery of sequence critical material, end quote, the Navy spokesperson said about the Enterprise. Quote, delays of 18 to 26 months as assessed as part of the 2024 45-day shipbuilding review have eroded to 28 months with risk for overall ship construction. The Navy is working closely with the shipbuilder to improve these projections, end quote. And that's the end of my article, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Dabdon710 for all the military stuff that's happening around the world and the updates on the John F. Kennedy boat. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to end the show. I just wanted to say a few things. Breaking news for over the weekend. David Coverdale, the founder of Whitesnake, has retired after 50 years of a trajectory of music iconess. Also, last Friday, as we were live, Matt Cardona, indie wrestler formerly known as Zack Ryder, made an appearance Friday fighting against LA Knight. Did lose the match, but looked incredible as hell, and it was great to see him back in Raw, in SmackDown, specifically back in WWE. Tonight, as we tuned in late, we did end up, I ended up watching John Cena's final Raw appearance, as his the last time is now tour is coming to an end very soon. Last match is projected to be on December 13th. So make sure you keep an eye on that, which I believe is going to be, the match is going to be down in Washington, D.C., ladies and gentlemen. So make sure to get your tickets or stay tuned on that. All right, and before we go out on our outro, we always give it to our good friend Revelation to give us our daily homework or daily reminder.
So, again, we are having a daily homework, and this time, for when you join into chat on the next episode of the Unbound podcast, the homework will be this time, what when you join into it? How or no? Okay, how Unbound podcast? The homework do you will be like your turkey for Thanksgiving? Do you like it the normal traditional way, or do you like it an alternative way? Like do you like it fried, or do you like it a like it a not like an actual meat?
Am I going crazy or am I just hearing you loop?
Like a loop de loop.
Yeah, like I'm hearing you loop right now, and I don't know why.
I don't know. I think you're
You're
just going
not.
crazy.
No, you're not. You're not hearing anything.
I think Revelation, I mean, Dabdon still has his computer up and running. I gotta shut it down over here so I don't hear it. There we go. Okay, I'm so sorry for interrupting you. If you can continue on your daily homework real quick. I was hearing you come around, and it was because I was still watching Dabdon's feed, and it was coming back through. Could you do that again?
Okay, I'll do it again. Well,
Actually,
anyways,
the reason he's coming back through is because I have the fucking stream up on YouTube.
Yeah, and I forgot to stop watching those the flights thing. So my bad.
okay,
My bad. It's my bad,
okay.
everybody. My production issue.
I'll do it again, chat. So, your homework, your homework for when you join the Unbound podcast, next episode
Wednesday.
is for since it's getting close to Thanksgiving, how do you like to have your Thanksgiving turkey? Do you like it the traditional way? Do you like it or do you like it an alternative way, like having it a different, like a meat, like an alternative meat substance, or do you like it fried, like dunked in a big ass thing of oil and fried,
Fried turkey.
or any other alternative thing?
Yum.
Like, just jump into chat next, episode. When you join, let us know, and we'll that way we know how you like to chow down on, your turkey for Thanksgiving. Personally, and I like either fried or traditional.
I like mine off the fucking grill, off the smoker, a smoked turkey. Oh,
See, he likes an alternative.
That's the
nah,
alternative.
that's not the alternative. That's fucking.
That is
how
an
you cook a
alternative.
turkey. That's how you cook a
No.
turkey.
You cook a turkey in the oven. That is
No,
traditional.
the fuck you don't.
Yes, you do.
No. Okay, that's how you Yankees do it.
That is how everyone does it, Devin.
No.
All
That's how
right.
country folk do it.
All right.
Campers.
So that's it for tonight's episode of Unbound, ladies and gentlemen. We covered everything from investigative missteps in Comey's case, major U.S. and international news, to the unexpected intersections of pop culture and politics, to many, many, many things that we have covered today. Big thanks to everyone listening and keeping up with the conversation. We couldn't do this without you. Be sure to follow us on social media. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, which is only on here for now. We're shooting for next year to be on Spotify for sure for audio form. Be sure to follow us on social media, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and share the episode with your friends who need need a deep dive into what's really happening in the world. Remember to stay informed, stay questioning, and never take the headlines at face value. This is Unbound signing off. We'll see you next Wednesday, or this Wednesday, for more news, more discussions, and more of what's trending worldwide. And before we go, As always, we want to take a moment to remind our listeners that your mental health matters. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of self harm or mental health challenges, please reach out. You can call or text at 188, the Suicide in Crisis Lifeline, for confidential support, or contact 1-800-799-7233 if you are experiencing domestic violence. Remember, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. No one has to face these challenges alone, and there are people ready to listen and support you 24/7. Stay safe, take care of each other, and know that we'll continue bringing you the news and discussions that matter. And with that, I'm going to leave it to the boys to say goodbye. And I have no music ready, so we're just going to put something that will pop up. Go ahead, boys.
Have a good night, y'all. Thanks for coming.
You all hopefully have enjoyed the show. And you remember to do the homework and yeet.
Yeet, everybody. Have a good night. We're going to finally, here we go. We're going to finally leave you with our good friends, Tempest, with the song Stressed Address. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you on Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much. Tune in tomorrow on The Movement Show on Producer Mike Presents. Thank you again. Have a good night.
Have a good night, guys.
Curse my mind and bend my soul. What's this beauty I behold? Wreck my brain in so many ways. Once it's gone, I can't let it go. I can feel it overpower me. Can't oppress, I let it smother me. So in
cream will rise to the
This
top.
is the
Oh,
most
yeah.
advanced